Hey guys, Wolvie here, and this is a special presentation tied to the end of Final Fantasy Brave Exvius on the global side. The JP version is still up and running, and the reason why I'm doing it like this is because I will be covering what I have noticed on Reddit and include a Reddit story that is tied to Final Fantasy Brave Exvius from a deleted user, just a bit of a heads up. Now, after this video, and again, this is past Wolvie here, so after this particular Reddit video, I will be going into a product review from Cake, and then the video after that is something fun I've been wanting to do for a little while. I do need to plan it out a good deal. It is something tied to DIY, so once I get, like, the logistics of the DIY ideas I have in mind, like, more sorted out, then I will be starting filming that. But in the meantime, for this particular video, it is a special presentation for Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, as the global version is no longer available as of October of 2024. And the next video after this will be a product review from Cake. So with that, take care, and I will catch you all on the flip side. Hey guys, Wolvie here, and welcome back to the channel. As always, the usual disclaimer: any opinion here is mine and my own. This is a special Reddit video. It is on Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, and this is me being really late to the quote-unquote game, as I'm going to go over my take on the global version of FFBE no longer being available on the global end, although it is available still on JP. And in the past, and via a past video, I incorrectly said that Final Fantasy Record Keeper, another example, was gone completely. Final Fantasy Record Keeper is still available on JP. It is no longer available on the global side. So I'm going to go into Reddit. I'm going to dive right in here. I'm just going to go over here. I'm going to type this in so you guys get to see what I'm writing. So basically, as of late last year, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius is no longer available on the global side. There was an announcement made August of 2024. So so this is pretty much it right here. As far as I am aware, the it ended on the global version. I believe it was something along the lines of chapter 13 of the 4th season, so it's still ongoing on the JP site, just FYI. So this is pretty much it. This is pretty much the comment section in a nutshell. Meaning that people are not really fond of the news, because there has been a trend in recent times that Square Enix has been pulling varying mobile gadget games from at least the global end. And I will get to that part in a little bit. And I might be doing a couple of recordings, because that way guys get to see the Reddit aspect of this. Then I'm going to go into the YouTube side of things, so that way you guys get to see, the varying coverage and whatever have you. And then it's probably going to be later on in this particular recording, I'm going to show, like, with the Google Play, if it's like any remaining Final Fantasy mobile gacha games. So this is pretty much right here, the gist of, like, the comments for FFBE. And I mean, quite a few people are sad, some people are happy, and of course there's, like, the infamous FFBE player, how much he spent on the game, so on and so forth. And I'm not going to comment on that, because that's not my story to tell. So this is pretty much the gist of, like, the comment section of, like, the announcement back in August. So, I mean, it's sad, I mean, in all honesty, because you're talking about a mobile gacha game that surpassed, on the global scale, the quote-unquote average shelf life of mobile gacha games on the global scale, which is around 4 to 5 years, give or take. And this is one of those games where it's like it surpassed that. I believe the City of Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. I think that's another game that surpassed the quote-unquote shelf life of about 4 to 5 years for mobile gadget games on the global scale. Now, I will have like a particularly separate recording, you know, with my thoughts on Square Enix's decision making on the mobile gacha market and what's going to happen for that company going forward. So this is pretty much it. So like I said, it's at the end, like I said, it was towards the end of October, and the PDT, I believe, that's Pacific Daylight Time. So it's like if I were seeing this, it would have been close to Halloween Central Daylight Time, which is my time zone. So I mean, like I said, it is sad because you're talking about a game where it's like varying features, like were among the very best overall, and that's something, you know, all mobile gacha games should strive to do. Like have a plethora of resources for units, you know, mix it up. I mean, this is what this game did, and I'm saying this in complete defense of FFBE. And I will also mention that in the early stages of DeFo, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, you know, did their due diligence and promote DeFo, although the comment section about that, it was around 2018, 2019, where the comment section was not thrilled like with that cross promotion. I don't think FFBE did anything like that ever again, and like I said, I'm going to go into that sort of thing much later on in the video, like my take on that aspect. You know, whether or not I think it played a role what happened to DeFo, and DeFo, believe it, to reiterate, it is both gone. It's completely gone. DeFo's completely gone on both JP and Global. So anyway, what I'm going to do here is like I had it like set up on search so that way you guys get to see what I'm going to be typing in. I'm going to see if I can type in any Final Fantasy mobile gacha games that's still available on the global scale. So I'm going to type in FFBE. And then you kind of saw there for a moment about the War of the Visions, which is, let's see here. So what we do have here, and this is actually kind of good thinking on my end. So, okay, so it is. So you guys get to see a couple of games here. So I'm going to do my thingamajig down here, so you guys get to see what's going on up above. So you have the first one here, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius War of the Visions. It's like a side game to like the main game. I mean, I've never played it, have no interest in here. Now you have here Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. Now that is another one regarding like a Square Enix project. What I'm going to see, I'm going to do a specific type in for a game, and that's because I remember this one being quite expensive, and it's tied to Final Fantasy 15. But I honestly don't know like if it's still available on at least a global scale. So you guys are going to be, again, you guys will see me typing this quote unquote live. So I'm going to do Final Fantasy new, and so it's right here. So he says here Final Fantasy 15 A New Empire. Now you guys get to see here it's no longer, it's like it's not there anymore. I'm not 100% sure what happened. However, what you do see is the very like the full-blown Final Fantasy games that are available on mobile devices. Right here you have Final Fantasy 3, you have Final Fantasy 4, the 3D remake. You have here Final Fantasy 8 Remastered, Final Fantasy 6. This is Final Fantasy 3, the 3D remake. You have the OG Final Fantasy, and that's just some examples right there. So I just wanted to type that in, just wait, just that way you guys get to see what's going on. And like I said, the whole thing with Final Fantasy 15 A New Empire, I don't think this is I don't think this is available on at least a global scale any longer, which kind of concerns me regarding the elements of Square Enix and some of their decision making in the mobile gacha market they've been involved in for some time. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do here, this kind of like tied into Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. So, I'm going to do the whole thing. XV. Not ZB. XV. That's 15. A new Empire. Okay. Okay, so we actually have something. And this announcement, believe it or not, came in a few months ago. Now it says here, it is with great sadness we are announcing Final Fantasy 15 A New Empire will be shutting down on the 30th of December 2024 at 4 p.m. Pacific. Looks like December 30, the 31st of December 2024 at midnight UTC. That time zone is close to the United Kingdom, FYI. So it says here, as of today, Monday the 18th of November, in-app purchases with real money have been shut down and the game is no longer discoverable in the App Store or accessible to new players. The game will continue to run on the regular schedule until the 30th of December 2024 Pacific, when the servers will no longer be playable, accessible, or available in any capacity or by any means. We cannot express in words how grateful we've been to newcomers and veterans alike for all the support, enthusiasm, love, and feedback we've received since 2017. This has been an incredible journey, and every moment in EOS has shown brighter for your involvement. Our deepest thanks to Square Enix, our amazing partner, who've allowed us to spend 7 deeply cherished years with their exceptional creations. While Final Fantasy 15 is coming to an end, there are other MZ games available for you to conquer and explore. Read through feature of Final Fantasy 15 A New Empire blog and get together with your alliance to decide which available through customer service to get you help started on your new adventure. So I'm not 100% sure if this is just global or if it's global in JP. But again, this is at least global for A New Empire, which joins that very growing list of Defo, aka the City of Final Fantasy Opera Amia, Final Fantasy Record Keeper, Mobius Final Fantasy, and lastly Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. It's like Square Enix is like pretty much like, it seems like they're slowly but surely pulling their mobile gacha games out of the global servers, which I cannot help but wonder, is there something going on their financial scale? Because you guys have seen a little while ago that what seems to remain in the mobile gacha market for Square Enix are the two that you've seen, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, War of the Visions, and then Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, whatever the game is. I know you guys have seen it. It's titled Final Fantasy VII. And I will be brief in what I think of this so far is that I feel that Square Enix might be losing a lot more money than we think. There might be something seriously like within like the upper management, their board of directors. So for the part where the YouTube side is going to be a different recording. And I do apologize for this video. I was supposed to film it sometime this month. Some emergency things have came up in my private life. I'm not going to go into it at all. But things are sorted out for the time being. But I am keeping things open, if that makes any sense. So, that is that on that. When I come back, I will be going into the YouTube aspect. And then the third, it may or may not be the third recording. But at the very end, I will give my overall take on FFBE's departure from the global scale. I'm back. And for this particular portion of the video, it is the YouTube side of things regarding FFBE no longer being available on the global market. You guys saw earlier in the video where you've seen the aspects of it on Reddit. I mean, it was really sad. And to briefly put in another Square Enix mobile gadget game, Final Fantasy 15: A New Empire, which was talked about for quite a bit. I think either one of my friends or one of my sisters actually mentioned this game to me, like in passing, although they never really like played it themselves, as far as I know. But with that being said, we're gonna go into the YouTube side of things, you know, sense of like if anybody was talking about it going down on their channels, what was like, how were they reacting to it, blah blah blah. And just to reiterate, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius is still available on the JP side. There are some links like in the comment section on Reddit that has the like some link where you could go to grab it on your end if that's what you want. So without any further delay, we're going to go into the YouTube side of things, and don't mind my thing here. So I do have Final Fantasy Brave Exvius in my search history, in a sense. So you say here, this is Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. This is the topic. So that's one channel, one YouTube channel, I should say. This is the looks like it's about a little over 3,000 subscribers. And then what we have here is the official Final Fantasy Brave Exvius YouTube channel. When I was covering the City of Final Fantasy Opera Omnia, I actually brought up a suggestion of my own, which is my own, and as far as I'm aware, that I brought it up several times, that Devo could have benefited from their own YouTube channel instead of relying on the Square Enix YouTube channel for all things related to Devo. And we've kind of seen what happened to Devo. They're no longer available on either JP's end or the global end. It's really sad, so to speak. So we're just so I'm just going to go over here. Let me grab the channel itself. So we're going to see what's going on, like, quote unquote. So this is it right here. I believe this is the last of the global information. This is a season 4, The Dawn of Livonia, chapter 14, part 1. So that's very much where the last on the global side for the story. And I mean, like I said, it is very heartbreaking, so to speak. So I'm not going to subscribe because, you know, I'm not really it's not really my place if I can't play the game, so to speak. So I'm going to go over here, global. So you're going to see this, and I'm just going to hope I'm going to see something here. So there is a message here from, looks like a Fujimoto. He was part of the FFBE Global team. So there's a message from him, and this being early March, so this sounds like October-ish when the announcement was made. And this is a thank you to the players. So basically saying, hey, thanks for playing all this time. Sad to go, blah, blah, blah. Now, this is the beginner's guide, that sort of thing. And then you have here,
hey, what's going on, guys?
With their mentioning of FFBE Global going down. So yes, here's some stuff here and there. So basically, it's like, as far as I can tell, there's like not really much chit chat about it. I mean, and I have a feeling that due to what's going on
Hello,
the
everyone.
global end,
I'm
it's
Hiroki.
like,
I'm the producer of Final Fantasy
I
Brave
think
Exvius
the
Global
interest
version.
was waiting.
This
for
is my
some
final
time,
message
and I think
as
some people
FFBE.
are in denial of it.
というわけでですね、先ほど
Now, granted, this section is shorter than usual, but you guys kind of seeing that it's like it's not really being talked about much, if at all. I mean, there were some decision making, like, from like people behind the game that's like I'm still scratching my head about it to this day. And it's like includes, some people that were promoting the game. There was like I know there was a death of somebody that was like promoting a game too. And it's just like it just breaks my heart. For a game that's very much, broken like the whole average shelf life for a mobile gadget game, with like how they've been able to do it for that long, only to be taken away from the global servers. So hopefully in the next day or so, I get to do the third and final recording regarding how I feel about all of this. And I'm gonna go back into the Reddit side of things, so that way you guys get to see what's going on. And in short, I'm going to reveal how I feel about Square Enix's decision making now, so that way people are on the same page. So with Square Enix making this type of decision to get rid of not only FFBE on the global servers, but keep it in place for JP, but also get rid of Final Fantasy 15: A New Empire, which is another mobile gadget game, I am a little worried about the financial state Square Enix is in. Because what I've been noticing off and on is that the financial eggs, it's all being put into Final Fantasy 14 and Final Fantasy 7. The latter, being its own franchise, if that makes any sense. Considering, the Final Fantasy remake series, I know there's Ever Crisis, the prequels, the Advent Children. I think there's another one with Vincent and Yuri. Not Yuri. Yuffie. I got the name wrong. Sue me. It's so main character in the Dirge of Cerberus that has the lead of Vincent. Yuffie is like in that game as well. So it's like, if Square Enix is putting all of their eggs into the baskets of Final Fantasy 14 and Final Fantasy 7, I am a little worried that Square Enix has some financial problems, and a part of me is thinking that with their board of directors or the equivalent of that, it's like supposedly, keyword, because I need to look into if that's actually true or not, with a board of directors that doesn't have a background in gaming. It's just like the thinking is not really like making quality games, but having a quick cash grab. It's like people just like buy the product and not realizing it's not as of a complete game as it should be. Because for some of us gamers, it's like we want a game that is as complete as possible with as few issues as possible. And that could go back to, and this is granted, it's not a Square Enix game at all, but for those of you who've kind of like been around gaming for as long as some people have, some people will remember Gran Turismo 2 for the PlayStation 1. Now, that was an incomplete game, and there is a controversy tied to that game. And the reason why I clearly recall this controversy was because I remember it was around 2000, which is like a quarter of a century ago. It was around that time, it's like 24, 25 years ago. I mean, I was like just out of high school, or about to be out of high school. And I remember one of my older sisters and her husband at the time, I remember them like writing a letter of sorts to the people behind Gran Turismo 2, mentioning how that game was incomplete because there were certain things you couldn't do, and no matter how hard you tried, you just couldn't get that completion. So it's like, I fear that Square Enix is more worried about making money quick as opposed to making quality finished games. And this is something that we as gamers need to be more aware of to make good quality finished games with as few issues as possible. And for Square Enix, to do things like, in Devo's case, not have a dedicated YouTube channel at the very least to have the City of Final Fantasy Opera Omnia content on either JP or Global, which would have been more revenue. More of their other games promoting it, more revenue. People not being as hostile with things are being promoted, more revenue. Things like that. And I mean, FFBE, did their part with promoting Devo, and I think it's one of those things where it backfired on not just Devo, but eventually FFBE as well. So on that, like I said, I'm going to go back onto Reddit. I don't know if it's going to be today or whatever, or I need a few minutes to get some water. But once I come back, I will go over my final thoughts on all of this. So that way everybody is on the same page regarding to how I feel about FFBE, their announcement from last summer, and then the eventual getting rid of FFBE Global as the JP version is still in existence. So I will be back. Hello, I am back, and I'm doing the editing of this video a little bit sooner than I anticipated, so that way I save myself, from basically not having another chance to film the end of this particular video. So what we have here, I actually had another take, and thank goodness for practice runs. So we're gonna go over this particular post. Now, granted, this is the War of the Visions _ FFBE Reddit subreddit. So, and the user here is BG Maxi. So it says here, let's talk about FFBE Global ending. Lessons learned, lessons not learned. So it looks like there's been something going on behind the scenes since I left, and I left years ago. So it says here, greetings, people. So by now, the news is already out. FFBE Global is off, gone, kaput, after 8 years. It enjoyed a pretty good life, and it was fun while it lasted. And as the FFBE Global dies, FFBE JP celebrates the 9th anniversary. Behind every early closure, there is a story behind some reason or reasons that made the people go, hey, let's end service. As an FFBE Global player and current JP resider, I figured I should elaborate on what happened, and by proxy, what War of the Visions has done, and most importantly, what it can do to avoid a premature ending. So let's dig in. Disclaimer: if you've read me, you know I like to insert some snark and mockery, so... And disclaimer 2, info will be a mix of factual information and personal observation. As a player, there's only so much data I can provide, so bear with me. So, we're going to be getting some of the tea. How FFBE ended its service. For starters, how was FFBE like? Well, like any gacha for the dynamic duo Square Enix and Gumi, which should already be having you see how far you can rate it into the trash-o-meter. Oh, I like that already. With Global perpetually lagging behind JP on revenue, and this was before things started to go bad. So how did we get to this point? Well, the answer is it's not a one-thing reason, so much as many reasons piling up together. For one, Gumi is in pretty bad shape, Pretty bad shape, yo. And as many of you have heard, it turns out, trying to engage on venture capitalism and throwing money on whatever isn't really a formula for success, as their field gacha and laid out employees can attest to. They have done some very, very bad decisions, which obviously which obviously will have consequences. Nevertheless, nonetheless, excuse me, what dictates whether one game is kept alive for years to come or sent to the grinder relies entirely on how much delicious green paper they can accumulate. And I'm going to stop it there for right now because it kind of has that same MO for just about every mobile gadget game. They rely on revenue to survive. So let me see here. Okay, here we go. In capitalism, money talks and the money wasn't there. Why? If you knew what units would come in advance for the next 9 months, would you be willing to spend on units you know get skipped? What about when JP announces a new tier of power that entirely eclipses the current meta? And meta is like short for metagaming. That's one route. Then the other way is the acronym, most effective tactic or tactics available. Would you spend on the units to come, or would you save for what's to come next? So basically, whoever was playing JP obviously had an effect on global. And this is why some people are saying, do not tell people how to play a certain game. This is what I've been advocating. And if you don't expect people to play a certain way, they're not going to want to play it like you. They're going to lose interest and fast. Oh, hey, that sounds eerily familiar, isn't it? To those who have been playing since before 2023, you know you can peek right into the future by a time frame of 4 months and see what was good. That was a bad skip, save, move on, right? Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the crystal ball. The nice time gap between versions in which the outdated version can have a peek into what's to come and adjust their spending. Or abandon it altogether. See what's good? Save for it, pull for free. Isn't that nice? Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to say terrible. Clearly, it was insensitive of me to not think of the bottom line of our corporate overlords. Being happy about getting things for free. Now, if only we could do something to address this problem, some manner of decision that makes it impossible for people to gaze at the future and save. Maybe something like closing the gap? Oh yeah, that would work. Oh, wait a damn second. Isn't that just Road to Worldwide? Why, yes, it is the Road to Worldwide. You know, those many months with cramped banners and VC skipped VIs, unethically and disingenuous rate ups for 100 costs nobody cared about. You know, that whole shit show that had us collectively pulling out our hair in frustration. That's right, that same thing. The thing that closes the gap, stabilizes the game, reduces costs, prevents logistical problems, and makes people spend more. Now let's see what FFBE did do. Cut units, cut events, cut trials. I'm sorry? What the fuck? So your idea to cut the gap is by axing content on its entirety? How the fuck does that make sense? How will you make people spend if there's no content? Wait, you're telling me there's no content? Some new global original content made for us and us only? Okay, let me see that. Clash of Wills. Ranking event. Once per month. You get to fight a pretty big boss under a unique format, with new global exclusive equipment as rewards. By the way, we will be releasing global exclusive units that are for this format. Make sure you pull for them so you can engage in the new format. By the way, you also need to awaken your units to the equivalent of LB4 or LB5 so you can get the maximum rewards. Enjoy. Oh, I see. It's an entirely new format where you need global exclusive units for maximum damage. Other units that can be used, but not as good. By the way, you're telling me I need a certain level of whale if I want to rank high? Okay. And you're telling me these very powerful global exclusive units are also very strong outside global format, so I could just sit around happily pulling global exclusive units and not care about those faulty JP units with barely existing kits like this one right here. Then it shows a link for a particular unit. Okay, you got me. I'll do exactly that. I will pull for the new global units and skip the trashy JP ones. I like this so much better. By the way, since this is global exclusive content, that means you have to build this from scratch, right? Oh my lord, that must have involved some serious cost and manpower. Not to mention the hours dedicated to making the new format and making the sprites for the global exclusive units. But surely the revenue earned by this new business model will not only cover the cost of making all of this, but will also make up for all those useless JP units we skipped along the way. I think there's an image. I'm not interested in clicking that. Let's see how that went like, okay? Revenue increased, but fizzled over time. Then it had periodic ups and downs. Product got pretty much all this stuff here. And yeah, so it looks like it says here. So I'm going to read this last part right here. So it says premium units were made good for global exclusive format. They got shittier kits over time and became more similar to JP counterparts, which were getting better, but nothing spectacular. Implement an extra mechanic that required very specific units and deeper whaling of the new unit in town. And by the way, it was a turn management cancer. I'm not even gonna think about that. Now, my thoughts below. I may go back to that eventually. Let me check my timer. So it says here. This is this individual's thoughts, by the way. You can't make this shit more absurd than this. So on top of adding fuckery after fuckery after fuckery, on top of all of these problems, you thought it was wise to be greedy and milk players further with an extra feature no one asked for. And that was so bad you had to walk it back to the point. It was not only useless, but also a turn management nightmare. My dear people, I present to you a circus show of mismanagement performed by blatantly evil company Squeeze Elitix. I'm trying not to laugh at that. An incompetent venture capitalist greedy incorporated. Wow, this is becoming comedy gold. A shit show of greed and hubris mixed together to show you the unceremonious premature of a series 8 years deep that had a spin-off. So there you have it. What caused FFBE Global to end up prematurely was a series of hilariously bad decisions, one on top of the other. Rather than fix the problems, they just kicked the can down the road, got themselves into further problems, and death by 1,000 cuts caused by mismanagement and greed. What they should have done. Simply put, close the darn gap. Global exclusive content is bad logistics all over the place. Cost increase, revenue, all that stuff. The list goes on. It says, the list goes on. Having a time gap sucks for business with global exclusive. Even more. Elena was good. Esther was good. Zanzan was good. Sylvie and borrow or fun. Yes, I agree. It just doesn't make good for good stability long term. And don't know about you, but I was not thrilled they made every global exclusive a 100. I'm thinking this is $100 United States currency. Not to mention every saving you had to do had to factor some global exclusive inserted in at a random date. So it sucks for players and it sucks for the companies. And this goes on with War of the Visions. So I'm going to go back up. And we're going to go into this. We'll do that. So this is pretty much the whole thing with the Joker face. So this pretty much summed up my thinking of FFBE. So when I was playing FFBE for a while, it's like I will mention that what that's being described in this post, it's like it's very similar to what I went through. And I'm glad I got out when I did, because it's like, as they put it, a pure shit show. So it seems that after I left, it looks like FFBE got worse over time. So even with some of the stuff that they got right, it's just that they never seem to learn from the past mistakes. And I think this costed them greatly in the end. So in the end here, Square Enix, you really need to get your act together, because if you're making bad decisions after bad decisions after bad decisions, the company's not going to survive for much longer. And if you have some of these mobile gadget games, it's like you're not making good decisions on, and not really listening to some suggestions that could have worked, it's like people will not take you seriously as a company. And Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, with the global version shutting down permanently, is a huge example of that. And I just hope you guys get to Square Enix, like for the video game section, I just hope you guys get your act together and soon. And that's all I have. With Wolvie here signing off, I will catch you all on the flip side.